Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to Legislative Insight. I'm Margie O'Brien. At the beginning of each year, business leaders from all over Rhode Island have an economic summit here at Bryant University. It gives them a chance to speak with elected officials, share ideas and plans for the new year. For this program, we decided to highlight some of their priorities and see if plans are already in the works or if these ideas could be put in place this session.
I think the most important thing when speaking with elected officials is just to give them your own individual perspectives from not just from your business, but from the people that you manage. Because when we look at it, we don't have employees. We have representatives of families. So when we look at a company that's a small business like Banneker, we represent a lot of families in Rhode Island. So we hear their pains and we hear their challenges. We also understand from a business perspective what our pains and challenges are as a corporation here in Rhode Island. So I think that uncertainty is very disruptive for business. I think that having a clear path forward and a clear path for success for the state is really, really important, especially for businesses as we look to make plans for the future. I think with the economy on the rebound and the national economy, I think we're looking for how Rhode Island is positioned, not just within the state, but also as competimates to Massachusetts and Connecticut, and how we remain competitive.
Businesses like predictability. They get nervous when you have the General Assembly coming into session. They're afraid of policy changes. They want to know that when they commit their capital and they create initiatives and stop businesses, that the playing field is going to stay the same and that we're not going to disrupt their model. And I have been committed, and the General Assembly and the Governor, we've been committed to making Rhode Island more competitive, and we're going to continue to make Rhode Island more competitive so that business owners can rely upon the fact that we're going to be as competitive as other states.
If we can show that they're going to be employed long term, we're investing in their workforce and the workforce in their education and skills development. That's what they need. They need that security because they're taking that check home, and that's what's going to feed their family. They want to have some comfort that there's a continuity for them there.
My employees just need higher wages, absolutely, and they need, they have health care now, which is absolutely wonderful, and they get 401k, but they really need higher wages and they need more training, absolutely more training, and available training, and they kind of need space and time to do the training. A lot of the people that we employ are parents who have 1 or 2 children, so by the end of the day are working all day, they're going home, cooking supper, doing homework, assistants, so they kind of need that time during the day to actually take these courses because most of the employees in early childhood want to advance themselves. It's finding the time during the day to make that happen.
Times are tough. I'm very disappointed to see that, again, we're calling for minimum wage, $10.50 an hour. You can't just pull a number out of the sky and say this is going to be our minimum wage. I've been fighting to have a minimum wage bill that adapts to what the issues are here in Rhode Island. Housing, fuel, energy. The federal government does it for us. They give us a COLA or a CPI index. Let's just set what the minimum wage is this year in Rhode Island, $9.60. This coming year, raise it to what last year's consumer price index and COLA was, just like we do Social Security. Our neighbor next door, Massachusetts, raised it to $11. They thought that was a great number, pie in the sky numbers. So what are we going to do, compete with the Joneses? I think we should leave it at $9.60, but raise it at the same time by using the CPI COLA.
The car excise tax is my priority. We're an outlier in that tax, and it's a tax that just annoys people. It's a regressive tax, and it's an area where Rhode Island is one of the highest in the nation, and makes us an outlier, makes us less competitive, and it hurts us in our national rankings. So we can help our national rankings, put more money in our community, improve folks' quality of life, and along with that quality of life, just serve their needs.
I think anything is possible as long as we have, a game plan that is not just, looking at the next fiscal year, but, a 5-year outlook. And that's one of the things I think we've always done with respect to, at least since I've been chair of the Senate Finance Committee starting 8 years ago, with my counterparts along the way, has been, with each budget that we pass, being extremely sensitive to what the 5-year impact of that budget and the 5-year outlook will be. So whether it's the car tax or further investments in education or continuing to invest in the state's IT infrastructure, any number of things, I think we need to have that at least 5-year outlook and 5-year impact to see what is going to happen. I mean, the car tax obviously is one of the more onerous taxes that the average citizen does not like to pay. But I always say that when we eliminated the car tax, some cities and towns were able to hold the line. So this is not only a state problem or a state solution. I think the cities and towns, by and large, need to and have an obligation to meet us halfway as well.
So I think there really needs to be a focus on there and looking at policies that help to nurture and incubate businesses in the state, not necessarily just trying to go out and attract the next large business to bring them into Rhode Island, but how do we cultivate and develop the businesses that are already here and have been in business like Banneker has for 25 years now.
I mean, I think it's fantastic that we are making and getting the traction that we are, especially with those higher paying jobs that have been the recent announcements. But I think what we still see today there are still those folks that were displaced in some way, shape, or form after 2008, 2009. Manufacturing jobs that might have, been in and around the state. Over in Attleboro, for example, I've got a lot of constituents that worked at Leviton Manufacturing, American Insulated Wire, Northeast Cable. Those jobs don't exist anymore. Some of those folks have retired. Some of them have gone to other sectors, particularly in, healthcare, and some have just not returned to the workforce. And so I think it's those kinds of jobs that most Rhode Islanders that are still displaced would like to go back to work in. Those are not the same folks that are going to end up working, in the jobs that are going to be coming in as a result of GE or Johnson & Johnson. But again, I think we need those higher quality, good paying jobs to at least help create a foundation and support some of the services and resources that we'll need to expand some of those other opportunities. So, as I say, it took us 30 or 40 years to get into this situation, and we're still coming out of the effects of 2008, 2009. Things take time.
I give the governor a lot of credit for bringing some great companies to Rhode Island, but let's not lose sight of the fact that we have a lot of great companies, small and large, that have been in Rhode Island for a long time. So we have to create the environment for those companies that's conducive to sustainability and growth, and including job growth. So we want to make sure we don't lose sight of the fact that we have to create an environment that's fair to all, that allows all to grow. We love the big companies, and we're thankful that they're here and that everybody worked hard to bring them here. But that's just one small piece of the puzzle, and you have a big economy out there. And we have to make sure that the average Rhode Islander, the blue-collar worker, the gentleman or the young lady, the individual that's in the trades, the college student, everybody in our economy needs a job, needs a good job, needs a way to be able to sustain themselves and their families, and we have to create the environment that can be accomplished.
Oh, I would absolutely think they're more upbeat. I think the, 08 and 09 were very difficult for people, and a lot of businesses had a really difficult time just navigating the waters and getting through. I think what you're finding in this room about the interface between the business community, being able to now address their concerns directly with legislators, and really working at a subcommittee level through the Small Business Summit to address some of these issues, I think you're starting to see that change. They're seeing some momentum. So when business is good, things get better. So business is better, and I think you're starting to see some structural changes going forward that they're going to be really proud of and really fight for to keep that momentum going, because it's so impactful to the business community, and we need that every edge we can get.
I think people are getting to understand that we have to resolve a lot of these issues. Rules, regulations, licensing. I think by getting people together in this arena, you see so many people here, leaders, business owners, and I wear two hats as a small business owner for 39 years and as an elected official. I think it is, but there's a lot of work to be done.
My priority is always the budget. The budget is the single most important piece of legislation and policy that sets the roadmap for a lot of the state's priorities, and a lot of these concerns and a lot of these issues and initiatives that folks think should happen will end up in some way, shape, or form as part of or involved in the budget. My concern is with an incoming administration and many unknowns. I think we need to be prepared to not abandon our plan and not, walk away from any of that, but I think we need to be prepared with Plan Bs and with contingencies so that if circumstances turn out to be worse than we may anticipate or hope for, that we can at least jump into action and respond and not be caught flat-footed.
We fulfilled a lot of the requests, and if you look at a lot of the things we've done, the reduction in the corporate tax rate, the minimum corporate tax, eliminating the sales tax on energy costs, eliminating other taxes, payroll taxes reduced by $30 million across the state. We have moved the state in the right direction. Rhode Island is now much more competitive than it was 2.5 years ago. The business community knows that. They're feeling that. We are becoming more competitive. But I want to be cautious in saying that because we have a lot of work to do, and we have to continue to be focused on creating the environment that reduces regulations, reduces friction points, and creates opportunity for folks, and makes Rhode Island competitive with other states in every aspect of the policies that our government controls, so that folks want to stay here, enjoy a great quality of life, and succeed economically in the state of Rhode Island.
I would say it's absolutely more upbeat. Absolutely. People are energetic. They're coming up with solutions and looking forward to things. And they feel like when they, in my workshop, I do with John Gregory, it sounds like when they reach out, they are now getting answers. It's like, I feel now we're not just talking it, we're walking it.
And we look forward to watching the progress of some of these plans. As business leaders say, it is cooperation and collaboration that will move Rhode Island forward. For Legislative Insight, I'm Margie O'Brien. Thanks for joining us.